So that certain Aquaman starlet decided to go 110% Gone Girl yesterday with one of the most insane claims that I've heard so far. On top of that, they decided that eye rolling, that was the way to go forward, as the court wrecked the idea that they cannot put the Sun UK trial in this one, and as that certain Aquaman starlet tried to say they should be able to say anything they want because of free speech. Yeah, interesting. The same people that tried striking this channel over and over again, they think that free speech matters when it comes to them getting in trouble. We also saw JD's sister take to the stand. We're going to talk about all of that today and more. Crazy times, huh? Crazy times indeed. So, hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. Quickly, before we get started, check out and back our project. It is still funding on Indiegogo. Link is in the description. This is our way of going out and countering companies that do not respect you. Yeah, you can do better. You walk away from that, you walk towards something that will respect you. Thank you. Right from opening, you could tell what that certain Aquaman starlet's plan was, and whew, man, they made a mess of their opening arguments. You had two lawyers speak. The first lawyer, they did an okay job. His name, by the way, is Rottenborn. I thought that was kind of an interesting name, considering who he is, but he made decent statements. He broke down the factual argument of the case, but all of that was blown away when the second lawyer decided they would enter the fray. They decided that they would make an emotional argument going through all of the claims in this case. And what I learned from the claims in this case is we're not just going to go through this 14 incidents now that they've ballooned this up to. In 2016, they had 3 incidents. 2020, they had ballooned it up to 14 incidents. And now, on top of said incidents, they're making claims of, well, they talked about a certain Gone Girl scene, let's say. There's a certain bottle in that. Something's done with that bottle. Well, they say that JD, he did that during one of the Australian incidents. That has never before been brought up in anything whatsoever. No claims have ever come into the courtroom like that, and yet here we are. Now we have them presented before a jury. I wonder, by the way, if the jury, they understand. Again, that is a scene from Gone Girl that they're talking about. People make jokes about that all the time, saying that this sounds like a plot of a movie. Yeah, that was literally a plot of a movie. This opening, though, it goes on forever, too. And it goes on just like you're seeing. There are no breaths during it. You have an hour plus of the jury. They're being bombarded with names they don't recognize, with incidents that are out of order. You couldn't make a bigger mess out of this. Now, the best part of that opening, by the way, is when the judge decided to absolutely wreck that certain Aquaman starlet's team because they tried to slip in UK 2020. You could see that happening right here. They tried to bring up the fact that in the UK 2020, that JD, he lost the case against News Group Network, or NGN. Well, the judge, they don't like that at all. They didn't feel that JD got a fair trial. They said that on the record, by the way. He didn't get a fair trial because the two parties there, they weren't that certain Aquaman starlet versus JD. It was NGN versus JD, and he couldn't take her to task. You can see the judge is angry about this too. I mean, look at her statements. Look at the way that she's looking at that certain Aquaman starlet's team. And this has happened a lot, by the way. This is what they do. They try to prejudice the jury. They try to go out. They try to call for empathy or sympathy, taking the feelings over factual arguments. Yeah, they got busted here. Oh, man, it was something. You could tell that threw them off. They were already doing a terrible job floundering with their arguments. Yeah, it made it even worse. Now, after opening statements were concluded, we heard from our first witness, and I found a lot of this to be fascinating because it explains JD staying with that certain Aquaman starlet. Basically, in childhood, his mother was just like that certain Aquaman starlet, physically, emotionally. She did the exact same things to him. And you start to understand why someone would hang around in a relationship like that years later, because they were conditioned to. Now, on top of that, you find out that JD was a benefactor for his mom. Despite everything that she had done in the past, he decided to move her closer to him. He decided he would take care of her. And you also find out that certain Aquaman starlet, instead of actually helping him deal with the loss of his mom, she weaponized it. May 24th, 2016, when he was going through this ordeal, she decides to present him with the blackmail letter. I mean, that, like I said, it explains a lot about this case. It explains a lot about this certain Aquaman starlet. And some of the stories that she actually told us about her, yeah, I mean, they were quite insane. For example, when JD and that certain Aquaman starlet would travel together, the sister, who is his manager, she's not just somebody that's attached to the family. She handles a lot of the business side of things. She had to pick up extra rooms. She never had to do that with any other relationship, but in this specific relationship, it was so volatile on that certain Aquaman starlet's side that JD had to have somewhere to go. So he had to have extra rooms booked. I mean, can you imagine being in a relationship like that when every time you go somewhere, you have to pick up somewhere that you can escape to? But that's exactly what we heard. We also heard about the first time that Dior presented themselves to JD. They wanted to pick him up. He was excited about that. He approached his support system, the person that he's in a relationship at the time. You know what she has to say? She was disgusted by it. That's the qualifier that the sister used. She was disgusted by it. Why? Because she said that Dior, they deal with class. They want class acts. So why exactly would they want JD? She goes on, too, to say that she always heard that certain Aquaman starlet berating JD. When she was doing it, she would call him an old fat man. She would use other qualifiers that would try to get under his skin. And that says plenty about who this person is. You've heard it from many another person as well. And the sister said when you had to deal with her, you had to deal with her a certain way. Because if you didn't deal with her a certain way, well, they didn't get fun. They got crazy. And in fact, the sister says that she told that certain Aquaman starlet at one time they needed to be calmed down a little. You know, stop arguing. Stop being so accosting of JD. And she was told, get off your cross. I mean, can you imagine? Get off your cross. JD, he likes me when I'm feisty. You could tell that certain Aquaman starlet is terrified of this person, too. They're going to be terrified of anyone that tries to humanize JD, because if you're humanizing the man, well, you can't paint him out to be a monster, right? Anyway, check out our book. It's still in crowdfunding right now. Link is in the description. This is our way of going out and countering an industry that does not respect you, denigrates consumers, puts out bad products, and allows things like this to happen. Walk away from that. Walk towards something better. Check out what we have. Again, link is in the description. Thank you for being here, too. Thank you for continuing to keep up with this. And, well, going into day 2, I'll be over with Ricada Law. You can check that out there. Thank you. Appreciate you. Sub, all of that good stuff.